Hey everyone, I'm Nash Mittelman, and this is the House Blend, blending some real estate tips with local professionals, going over some market stats. And I'm here today with my buddy Robert Ring, and we're going to talk about state of the market, where things are headed, and affordability is a big issue right now. But before we get started, it's called the House Blend because we love coffee. We are both coffee connoisseurs. Off, what's that word you say?
Aficionados.
Aficionados. Thank you.
Affogato.
Yeah,
Aficionado.
I'm a big fan of affogatos.
Yeah.
Aficionados. Today I got my oat milk cappuccino from Highwire. I'm drinking the After Hours blend, the decaf blend from one of my favorite roasteries here in the East Bay. I had to switch over to decaf because I drink a lot of coffee, and it's actually really good for a decaf coffee.
It is. I had it earlier today when we had attempt one at the inaugural podcast.
Mm-hmm.
When unfortunately my microphones went out. I was using this like Rode Go generic setup. So I'm back in my house. We're doing this remote, and I'm about to make a cappuccino. I figured I'd show you my workflow real quick. I'm also drinking Highwire, but I don't have the decaf. I've got their core espresso in my Chiato E37 grinder, which is 83 millimeter flat burr grinder. So I've got it all dialed in. I start out with a blind shaker. I just I dose it into here, and I always weigh it just to make sure I have the right amount. So I tear it out on my scale, and let's see, I have it set.
You get really dialed with that, man.
Yeah,
What kind, what kind of espresso machine is that?
that's an ECM Synchronica. So I always go 20.5 grams. I have it dialed in, so in 3.6 seconds I get 20.5 grams. Put the top on it, and I shake it for 5 seconds. I follow Lance Hedrick on YouTube, and he does a whole bunch of nerdy stuff when it comes to espresso workflows, and he's a big fan of blind shakers and shows that you get a lot, like really good extraction with it. It's really simple. It's just, it's got a little magnet ring on there, and then it's got a little thing that you pull up, and that just makes a hole in the bottom and gets the grounds to drop in.
Nice.
So super simple. And then I just take my leveler and level it out, and then I tamp it. And I'm tamping today with a this is a Normcore tamper with a guard on it, and it's got a spring in there for 30 pounds of pressure. So I always double tamp.
I gotta say, man, you're kind of making me look bad with this official setup you got. I use the bevel, and like I set it, press a button, and then it does it for me. But it's still nice. I digress, though. Continue.
You made me a great espresso though with that, so it totally
It does
works.
the trick, man. It does the trick, and it saves a shit ton of money.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And then I use a Normcore thin puck screen on the top. It just keeps my shower screen a little bit cleaner so that the grounds don't get up on it. I already warmed this thing up, so I'm just gonna pull the shot, and I weigh and time every shot just so I make sure I am getting what I want. And I have a little, it's kind of fun, I don't know if you can see it here, but I have let me show you. I've got a little shot mirror here. And so I put it right here so I can see, like, as soon as I've got a bottomless portafilter. So I want to see as soon as the espresso starts to pour out, and then I start the timer, okay? And while that's going, I've got my milk here ready to go. I'm drinking Alexander Family A2 milk. This is my favorite milk. A2 milk is easier to digest. I don't like the way that regular milk feels when I drink it.
Is that like straight from the cow or what?
Yeah, I mean, it's a cream top, vat pasteurized, non-homogenized milk, but A2 milk has different enzymes in it that are more easily digestible, and it's the type of cow. It's a genetic difference. So all cows produce like A1 and some A2, and some just produce A2. I think that's correct. So this is cows that just produce A2 milk. And then I'm just going to quickly steam my milk here.
So what are you drinking?
I'm making a cappuccino.
With you got the caffeinated high wire though, right?
Oh yeah, I've got the Highwire Core Espresso in there. I just got it like last week and dialed it all in. And I love it. The flavor's phenomenal.
Dude, so Highwire, that roast has won awards. We've got like 94 points on the. I don't even know what the competition was, but it's very highly rated. One thing I love about these guys is it's always freshly roasted, so you get a really nice crema when you do pull espressos like that.
I'll do a little latte art here. Let's see if it works.
That's it.
Cool. It's not bad. You can kind of see that in the camera there.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah? Cool. There we go. All right.
How many espressos is that for you today?
Well, I had the cappuccino this morning and then the decaf at your house, and so this is number two of the caffeinated espresso, number three of the regular. But then I had the French press at your house too, so I'm not gonna
That
sleep
that was
for a
decaf.
week.
That was decaf. That's why I just switched to decaf. I like to saying I turn coffee into contracts, and I have to drink a lot of coffee to do it.
Yeah,
I don't want to figure out what the drawbacks to your health are for over drinking coffee.
over caffeinating.
Over caffeine, yeah, sounds scary to
Yeah,
me.
it affects your adrenal glands, so that's your body's ability to produce adrenaline naturally.
Oof, I need that.
Yeah,
So hey man, thank you. I just want to thank you for being on the podcast today. Robert and I have been partners for quite a while, and I've been in the game for almost 8 years. Known Robert for about seven. Done a ton of deals together. Helped clients all over the Bay,
hmm
single family, multifamily properties, condos, and you're just a very talented and informed professional that I love to work with, and you do a great job for your clients. So really appreciate you
thanks,
being
man.
here. Yeah, and just give some people like some of your background. I know your whole family's in real estate, right? So
Yeah, a few of them are. So my dad's a retired commercial developer. He's still a broker, and but doesn't he doesn't do any sales. And my brother is a real estate agent up in Grass Valley. He's the president-elect of the Nevada County Association of Real Estate. Um, I've been doing this for just over 11 years now in home loans. Um, and like Nash said, we've worked together a lot, and we've helped a lot of people specifically house hack and get into multi-units and build wealth through that and reduce their monthly payment. We're very passionate about that. We're very good at it, and we know how to help people kind of jump over the hurdles that to make the access to something like that easy for them. Right? It's easier than people think, and we've helped a lot of people do it.
yeah, so what I wanted to talk about today too is like just affordability, and a lot of people think that housing is too expensive and out of their reach. And
hmm
in later podcasts, I want to debunk all these myths with you. But a question that we're fielding all the time is like, what are interest rates? People are waiting for rates to go down.
hmm
We're going into a very slow time. We're going into like the the quiet time in real estate with Thanksgiving right around the corner and an
Yeah.
election. And I'd love to see hear about the conversations you're having, and learn about what you're seeing in the market.
Yeah, totally. So, affordability is at an all-time low, and it has been for a while. Rates are back up to where they were in July, so we've kind of erased all of the progress that we made from rates coming down. They've gone up nearly 1% since the Fed rate cut. And a lot of people don't know that the Fed rate cut doesn't directly impact rates, but their stance on monetary policy does. And so, basically, if you see strong indicators in the economy, like jobs reports and unemployment reports and spending reports and things like that, all stuff that has been coming out recently, this makes rates go up if those indicators are strong. Because if they're strong, then that will tell us that the Fed is probably not going to cut rates at their next meeting. And so, there's kind of the short and long term market reaction, and there's always an overreaction. So right now, markets are, I think, overreacting to small data points that they think will push the Feds to not cut rates at their next meeting. And even though the rate that they're cutting is not the mortgage rate, their stance on policy overall has an impact, and cutting has a positive impact on mortgage rates. Um, so, like I correctly predicted that the last rate cut was already baked into mortgage rates because of market reaction, and it was. Right after the rate cut, rates started moving up. And I think that we probably won't see rates come down until Q2 of next year. We'll probably see them go, like this. But this is true in any market. Like when rates are going up and when they're going down, they never go up or down in a straight line. And so this is to be expected. And one thing that I think is really important, we'll get to more of this, is because of the slowdown in the market that we're seeing, and you'll talk about some of these stats in a moment, it's a great time to buy. Tom Ferry once said to me, when the world goes on sale, you want to have money so you can buy things. And that's absolutely true, because a lot of people don't have that money to buy things when the world goes on sale. And what do I mean when the world goes on sale? I mean like when homes sit on the market, or when markets crash, when values crash, things like this. You want to be primed and ready for that clearance sale that happens, because basically that means most people are not primed and ready. right? So if you have the ability, here's how we have strategies to help you get, rates in the fours and fives without you paying for it in markets like this. So,
Yeah, I think there's what people don't understand too. There's a herd mentality around buying real estate and interest rates, and they think when rates do go down, that all of a sudden they're going to be able to get a great deal, but actually prices are going to go up, right? And what
mhm,
doesn't change when you buy a house and refinance it is the loan amount. And so you can get a good deal
mhm.
on a loan, refinance the interest rate if and when rates come down. And when do you see, like, if you had to guess, the next like 8 months? I know you said quarter two, 8 to 12 months, 12 to 16. What's your guess? What's your best guess?
Yeah, well, it'll be interesting to see like what impact the election has on interest rates and on markets overall. And I think that the first reaction will not be the sustained reaction. So, we saw this last time when Trump won in 2016. Interest rates went up the very next day, immediately went up. But throughout his tenure, they went down. And I'm talking pre-COVID. Obviously, during COVID, that was separate. They went up a little bit in 2018 and 19, but that was when Jerome Powell, tried to raise rates the first time, and it had a negative impact on the economy. So Trump called him out, and he backed off a bit. So I think, honestly, I think with the direction that we're going, I think the Feds have to lower their rates. They've indicated they want to continue lowering rates, which is what we would call an easing standpoint of quantitative easing, right? Which
Mhm.
is good for markets. It's alleviating to the bond market, which controls mortgage rates. And so I think that there's downward pressure, and it won't go in a straight line. But I think Q2, Q3 next year we'll see rates kind of normalize in the low sixes. They're not there now. The average 30-year fixed as of today is 7.3% in the United States. Um,
That's the
so
average.
that's the average. Yeah, you can look it up on just type into Google mortgage rates, and
Yeah.
it'll pop up averages. And so that scenario is between a 700 and 720 FICO score with 20% down. Right. Obviously, different scenarios like FHA rates will be much lower than that, as will VA, but there's premiums baked in, so you always want to be aware of those things and compare the costs. Um, but yeah, I mean, that's the average for a conventional 30-year fixed mortgage today. And if you just go back a month ago, it was 6.5% and even a little bit lower than that at the time of the Fed rate cut on September 14th. So, I hope we get back there. Um, I don't, I don't, I don't, outside of a new Fed president or serious negative market indicators coming up, like people losing tons of jobs or the markets crashing or banks failing, things like this, we won't see rates drop a lot. We'll see downward pressure, which will be steady and won't go in a straight line. So I think we can hope to get into the low sixes next year. And my goal, if I'm looking into a crystal ball, I'm hoping that over the next 4 years and with a new Fed president, that rates will normalize probably in the high fours and mid to low fives. I think that's probably going to be a new normal. I don't think we're going to get back to rates in the twos and threes for a few reasons. I think economists, and especially people that will be in charge of the Federal Reserve, know that rates in the twos and threes are not good for the United States for the economy because people never want to sell their home. And we have an inventory crisis, right? I mean, right now, seasonally, we don't, right in this moment. But uh, when you have people sitting on 2.5%, they don't want to give that up. They have these amazing internal returns that they can't replicate if they were to sell and buy something else,
Yeah.
and that makes it really difficult for new people to buy homes. So we want to avoid that in the future. I think it was sort of reckless when they did it last time, even though of course we benefited majorly from it. So I think we'll see normalization in the fives. That's my
Yeah, we're
forecast.
we're gonna have a good podcast in the future about the lock-in effect and the drawbacks of 2.5% rates, because not only do people not
Absolutely.
want to sell their house, they can never refinance them, and part of, like,
Right.
building wealth through real estate is refinancing. So
Hmm. Absolutely.
it's the low rates are not all that's cracked up to be. Actually, the people that won when rates were low were the people that already owned real estate, not the people that necessarily bought. A lot of people won.
Hmm.
My clients won, but the yeah, I'm with you, like 2.5% interest rates were not super healthy for the real estate market, especially coming out the other end.
Well, yeah, and you saw increases of like 17% in value year over year, and that's not sustainable for anybody. I mean, in a healthy real estate, I've been saying this for years, in a healthy real estate environment, um, home values increase just a little bit less than wages increase, and wages increase around 2 to 3% annually, right? So home values should be around 2% increases per year, not 17%. You had like just year after year of like 7 to 10% increases, and then these spikes where we saw 14 and 17, and then right after that, rates spike through the roof, values drop in a lot of places, and home affordability now hits a 30-year low in 2020, end of 2022. That's not good for anybody, but especially people trying to enter the market. It makes it so a lot of people cannot buy,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
So, what conversations are you having with prospective buyers about affordability and how to make it more affordable?
Yeah, that's a great question. Well, because a lot of homes are sitting on the market right now, and you shared a stat, which I hope you'll share that blurb again from your chief economist at
Mm.
Compass. Um, I'm telling people to get sellers to pay for their rate buy downs, and we're even going to sellers to prepay for rate buy downs. So we have something called locked to sell. So if you're a real estate agent, you have a listing that is sitting, and you're going, okay, I got to do price reduction. You could do this in tandem, or just do this. You can actually have your seller prepay to lock in an interest rate for any buyer that buys that property and buy it down 1 to 2% below market. So get them a rate in the fives or low sixes, and and whoever buys your property can take advantage of that. Now, we talked earlier, like on a $1 million home with 20% down, if we got somebody into let's say a 3% temporary buy down, which we discussed this, that would
Mhm.
save them $1,400 a month, and we can get the seller to pay for that in a market like this on $1 million home. So these unique creative strategies and incentives that we can get from sellers in markets where there's a lot of inventory and stuff's not moving can really benefit a buyer. So if you've been on the fence, think I'm going to wait for rates to come down, just know when rates come down, values go up, and you won't get anything out of a seller, and you'll be in a multiple bidder situation. Whereas right now, if you let us guide you through it, we'll get you into a house, we'll get you credits, and we'll get the seller to pay for you to have a super low rate and a way below market monthly payment than you normally would on a similarly priced home.
Yeah, the market's really goes dark during the holidays, probably starting next week around Thanksgiving. Then you got the holidays, then
Mm-hmm.
you got tax season, and then you throw an election in that mix, and it's going to be pretty interesting. But I think there's going to be some good deals coming up. So,
Yeah.
yeah, Patrick Carlisle, our chief economist over at Compass, just threw out some stats this morning, and right now there's over 6,300 active listings in the Bay Area. About 60% of listing inventory has been on the market for more than 30 days. And that's not
Wow.
including students listings, but 35%, 35% have been on the market for more than 60 days, and 24% has been on for more than 90 days. So why is that important? You know, I feel like any seller that has their home on the market right now, it's because they have to sell. It's not because they want to sell. It's not because the market is primed to sell. Um, but we did a couple deals last December from
Mm-hmm.
some friends of ours, the Relaxed Egg Plant and Imran, and we got
That's his
him.
social media handle, by the way, for anybody wanting context.
He's
Check it
gonna
out.
love.
He's got a green thumb. It's a lot of fun.
He's gonna love that. But we got them both credits to buy down the rates
Mm-hmm.
and got them killer deals in December. So, like I said, I feel like there's going to be a lot of deals coming up. I'm getting ready to start looking, and can you share some insight about like how a buy down works? Because I know some people are hesitant when it comes to creative financing,
Sure.
and what actually like what if you buy down the rate and then rates actually come down for natural disaster or like whatever unforeseen thing.
Sure. Yeah, it's a great question. Like when Greece went bankrupt and rates dropped, right? Something like that could happen. With a temporary buy down, you get money back. So it's a sunset period. So you have depending on the one that you get, because you have options with this, you can get a 1, 2, or 3% buy down, which means your rate will be reduced by 1, 2, or 3% for 1, 2, or 3 years. And the seller pays for it, right? So let's say you lock in a rate at 7%, a 1/4% below the national average today, and the seller buys your rate down for 2 years by 2%. The first year it's 5%, the second year it's 6%, the third year it's back to 7. Never changes after that. So let's say you do that, and then a year into it, rates are low, like they're below 7, and you want to refinance. you'll have money left over, and that money will lower your loan amount. So basically, it'll pay for your refinance plus more. So you could refinance and come out with a lower loan amount and a lower rate. It's a great strategy. We did it for Imran and Jawad. Not only have their home values gone up quite a bit. I mean, Jawad's is worth $200,000 to $300,000 more than he paid for it, which is amazing. I mean, he just got an incredible deal, and that's thanks to you. You found that deal, negotiated it, helped him identify that that was a really good property that people just were scared of because they didn't do their homework on it. You brought out the foundation guy. We made sure it was all amazing. So, I mean, he got a screaming deal. And his rates dropping down really low, but there was a whole bunch of money left over, and he didn't lose that money. It went towards lowering his loan amount, which is really incredible for a refinance. So, you've probably heard people say, date the rate, marry the house. So cliche.
So much.
I hate it. I absolutely hate it, but it's true.
Yeah.
It's 100% true. Okay. Because you can do that. I mean, there's no guarantee. So we want to make sure you can afford your home no matter what. But like if we're in a high rate environment and we anticipate rates will go down during the time that you own that home in the near term, then buying now doesn't mean that you're stuck with that payment forever. You got the house, you got a good deal on it. We can help you get a great deal, get the credits, lower your closing costs, lower your rate, etc. And then you might find yourself like Jawad in a year where your value's up and your rate's down by 1.5%. That's an amazing setup.
Yeah. And, back to like the whole conversation about appreciation and everything, like 17% was unhealthy, but historically homes appreciate about 5% in the Bay Area. So, my
Right.
philosophy is like getting your foot in the door is tough. I know affordability is a heavy topic right now because a lot of
Yeah.
people got to reach, but say you buy $1 million house and it goes up 5%, that's 50 grand that you made. And, if the payment is reasonable and like palatable, I guess it's possible to do really well in real estate and maybe not focus so much on like paying off the house because a lot of people don't do that. What do you see for like a real estate cycle for like first time home buyers who are just trying to get in the market?
Well, I think a lot, like we touched on earlier, a lot of people are afraid to buy right now. They want to wait until rates come down. But I'll tell you that it'll be much more difficult for a first time home buyer to get in the market when rates come down. There's a lot of people with a lot of money in the Bay Area, and that's why we have so much competition because there's not enough homes on the market to match the demand. There's usually a 6 to 7 people for every single home available, right? Because we haven't been building enough homes. That's why there's so much demand. Now it's softened a little bit right now because of high interest rates, and so this is your opportunity to negotiate. And this a lot of people don't understand. You can buy a house, you can get down payment assistance, you can buy a house for very little money, right? I've helped people get into a home for less, almost zero, $4,000, something like that, right? But whenever you buy a house, you're going to spend, especially in the Bay Area, 2 to 3% of the home's price in closing costs. And that's not just like what a bank charges. Most of it's not. You have title and escrow fees, which can be $7,000, $8,000. You've got transfer tax in some cities, which can be $7,000, $8,000, $10,000 easily, right?
Yeah.
So it's not unheard of to see $30,000 in closing costs on a $900,000 purchase. That happens. Your impound account. I mean, you can go on and on and on. So it's a great opportunity to get in and have the seller pay for those things. And that lowers the barrier to entry because if you only have the minimum down of 3%, on a $500,000 home, and you don't have the extra 15 grand to put into closing costs, you can get the seller to pay for it. You absolutely can. And on top of that, you could probably do either or. You could get the seller to pay for your closing costs and buy down your rate, depending on how much you have down, because there's some limits on what they can pay for. Or you could do either. If you have the money for the closing costs, you could say, okay, seller, buy down my interest rate. And when rates go down, demand will pick right back up. More people will buy, and you'll be competing with people that have a lot of money down. You'll be lining up behind 15, 20 people to buy a house. And, in every market, you'll have people that say, I think I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait until values come down. I'm going to wait until there's not as much competition. Okay, that's right now, right? And what I'm hearing right now also from people sometimes is, well, I'm going to wait till rates come back down. Well, you have to understand when rates come back down, demand picks back up, and you're lining up behind 20 people, and you're paying $100,000 over asking. This is your opportunity to not do that and really get into a great opportunity. And if you have the right people in your corner, namely someone like Nash here and myself, we're very seasoned and experienced, tell you, in guiding people through that. I mean, just with 2 clients that we helped in the last year, easily they are combined now $350,000 more wealthy than they were when they purchased. And
In a
that's a
year.
really cool situation in a year
In a year.
because, I mean, look, Jawad's home skyrocketed in value. Imran just got his appraisal done for his refinance. It's up 55,000 from when he bought it. And they're lowering their rate by over 1% in each of these scenarios. So, we're not going to hit a home run like that every single time, but we know how to structure and reverse engineer those to get you into those situations. And I've seen those happen a lot, right? Again, they don't happen every single time because there are certain market factors that are outside of our control. We can't promise you the moon, but we can definitely tell you how to get there. We can make the moonshot for you.
Love that, man. Thank you.
Yeah, sure.
So, yeah, man, this has been fun. Like I want to bring you on another podcast here in the next day or so. Whenever
I love that. Yeah,
you got a new kid, so it's really dependent on your schedule. How
she's 16 months. Yeah, she's sleeping
16
right
months?
now. I
I
got the
love
baby
that.
monitor next to me over here. Here, I'll show you.
Nice.
There we go. This is my life right now. I work from home and watch the baby sleep.
Love it. I love it.
Yep.
But yeah, man, in future podcasts, like I want to go into multifamily house hacking, as Bigger Pockets calls it, and
Yeah.
Bay Area specific, because I love Bigger Pockets, but I think a lot of the insights they share on there are not relevant to the Bay Area, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Um, and you're a wizard when it comes to it. I'm a big advocate of house hacking. I bought a duplex in 21, and I pay under 2 grand to live in a 3 bed in Point Richmond. So it's nice. And just as a shameless plug, like what I know you got a nice little property out in Martinez too, right?
Yeah, out here in Concord, actually, I live in a duplex. It's really a single family home with an in-law unit above the garage, right above me here. And we short-term rent that, and it makes an average of around like 3,300 a month, um, which is way above the market rents if I were to long-term rent it. And then I have another house that I bought here in Concord where we built another unit on it. We're building a third unit as well. And so, our combined total monthly gross, I mean, obviously we have expenses and different things, but we don't, I mean, our mortgage payments are completely covered through the units that we have. It's close to 12,000 a month between the three units. And once we get the fourth and the fifth and, just
It's
on the
good.
pathway to retirement.
It's good retirement plan. Yeah, I was just gonna say
Yeah.
that. Plus, you get tax benefits. It
Yeah.
appreciates. That's great.
Yeah, the
Well,
depreciation tax benefit for real estate is huge, and for anybody watching that doesn't know what that is, it's basically what we would call a non-liquid loss write-off. So you have write-offs like you take somebody out to dinner, you can write a portion of it off. But with real estate, you can depreciate the value. So you didn't spend extra money, and you'll get like a 20, 30, 40, $50,000 write-off, and that's one of the, I would say, the eighth wonder of the world when it comes to real estate.
oh, it's a magical asset, and we'll
Yeah.
go into this on a future podcast. But it
Hmm.
actually it goes up in value, but the way the tax code is written, you can actually
Hmm.
deduct the depreciation.
Yeah.
Don't talk to your CPA about it. But yeah, man. Well, stay tuned for more tips and tricks on how to brew up equity and more
Yeah.
real estate coffee puns that we're gonna have coming your way. But hey, man, again, dude, I really appreciate you taking take two on this podcast today.
Yeah, I'm sorry my stupid microphone's bummed out. We'll have to do that again because you've got a really sick house and a great little setup with the coffee and the French press and the pour over and the Breville and you
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
So,
Well, if you liked what you heard today, please subscribe and thanks for listening.
all right, guys. See ya. Thanks, Nash. Bye bye.
Thanks, man.
Hmm.